So I was in New Jersey, me and Lorenzo, and Chris Weidman came up to us and said, I want this fight, I'm ready for this fight. He said, I'm going to beat him in the first fight, and then I will give you an immediate rematch because people won't believe it after I do it. Verbatim what he said to us. And that's what he did. You know, it's crazy.
Do you think that that's fair to him? Do you think he's been shortchanged, that he hasn't been given enough credit?
When you knock out the greatest fighter of all time and the way that it went down, yeah, that's going to be that way. He's the underdog here too in Vegas, you know? Yeah, and I think it's justified because look at what, it's funny because I look on the you know, like even the rankings. Anderson Silva's number 3 on the pound for pound list, you know, and all the stuff that happens. Guy's been on the biggest streak ever, he's the greatest ever, and then you lose one fight. And that's the way, you know, the way people deal with you.
What do you see with Misha in her position? It's almost like when you talk to people, she's the lamb being led to slaughter in this fight.
Yeah, I know. I think it's, you know, that's a testament to what people think of Ronda. You know, Ronda is such a beast, but Misha, forget even in her losses, man. I mean, she goes to war. I mean, she can take some shots. She can get into exchanges. She's great on her feet. She's great on the ground. Even in her last fight with Ronda, she got out of Ronda's armbar. You know. Then when Ronda got her in her second one, she started cranking it. You know. But Misha's tough, and Misha's a live dog. Not a lamb, a live dog. No, nothing yet. No. There's still a few contracts we're out there working on.
Do you have a ticket sale update for this card?
Yeah, we're so sold out on this fight, it's insane. There's some singles left out there. I think we're at 6.3 million right now. Yeah.
When you talk about the women's division, Kat Zingano, have you heard much about her recovery process, and when is she expected back?
Yeah, she's doing good, and hopefully she stays healthy, and we can get her back by summer.
Would she be an immediate contender right away, or?
She's the number 1. Yeah, she's numero uno. When she's healthy, she'll be ready to go.
Also in that division, Sarah McMahon. What's the latest with her?
Yeah, she took a little time off, was dealing with some personal issues, and she'll be back soon too, right after the first of the year.
You were talking about being bummed earlier. That was in reference to the TRT thing, correct? Yeah. Does that change your mindset at all? That's twice now you guys have approved, or what? You guys didn't approve one. You approved Silva's. The Milwaukee Commission approved.
So I told you we test the shit out of these guys that are doing TRT. We gave him his last test, right? The week of the fight. He was perfect. He took another shot. Just put him over.
So it's nothing about the process. It was a personal mistake.
Yeah, and what does that extra shot really do for you? What did it really do for you the week of the fight? It destroyed everything. Now you don't get the win money that we were given. We were giving both guys show and win money, and you won the bonus. Now you lost both your win money and your bonus money. Ouch. So all of you guys out there that are on TRT, and it's legal, you want to fuck around and take that shot after you've been tested, there's the consequences. The consequences could not be worse. Now you're on suspension for a year. You lost your win and your bonus money, and I'm sure your sponsors aren't thrilled either.
Well, you had a situation with Rothwell too, and he says that he felt he did it all correctly under the commission, and somehow it happened. I mean, do you get to a point where you're like,
you know, what's going on?
Are you getting any indication from fighters that are on that exemption that whether or not they think it's any help to them at all, that maybe all of this is not worth it?
But here's what it does. Where it really helps you is during your training.
Right.
While you're training, it helps you heal faster and all this other stuff. Taking that extra shot the week of the fight just puts your levels up through the roof and doesn't really give you any extra, you know. If he didn't take that shot, they would have had the same fight probably. It's just not worth the risk. Why risk it? Now you see the consequences.
And do you think that the fighters are coming around to that idea, though, that maybe this just isn't worth it?
If you have a quarter of a brain, it should.
So when you tested him, was he low? Because he was talking about him.
No. He was
based
good.
on your feelings on it, is there any kind of inkling to say, all right, just ban it then? Just get rid of it completely? Even with the situations that have come up, you still don't lean towards that?
What the Athletic Commission does. We're always going to go with the Athletic Commission. Listen, do you think it does? Do you think it's great for me that this guy? I I told you guys how much I love that fight and how into that fight I was, and it's just like now it ruins it for me. You know, I talked to Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's like, let me tell you what, brother. I don't care what he was on or what he did. Two guys went in there and did their thing, and you know, he actually defended him and was like, that dude went toe to toe with me, and we put on something that, you know, it was pretty cool. You know, actually Mark Hunt got me in a better mood about it. You know, but still, it's
You're not going to sporting the shirt
the
again.
way you know legally, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Nothing.
So rumor has it that Brock Lesnar's coming for 168. Is he coming for the fight, or is he coming to talk business?
Really? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Honestly.
Honest. We good? All right, you guys. Happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
You can't be from where I'm from and not be able to defend yourself. So that was the original reason I got into it. Not for titles, not for recognition, not for money. You know, it's not so much about wanting to fight. It's about I have to fight. It's always been like that. You know, I couldn't just not fight. If I don't fight, then I get walked on.
What's up, Darren? Thank you.
When the $4 billion number came out, the man to the left of you said he was worth $4 billion. So I guess the question is, how much is Conor worth to the UFC? And then Conor, how much are you worth to the UFC?
$4.2 billion. $4.2 billion. That's what I'm worth to this company.
Conor, Eric Dane, MyMMAnews.com. Question for you. Coming off a couple big fights at 170, we know your history at 145, now 155. This move to lightweight. Tell us your thoughts on it.
I'm very happy with the 155-pound weight limit. I feel of all the divisions I've ran around and ran through, 155 I feel will be the one where I will take over the most. So I look forward to that.
Question for Conor. Conor, after your last few fights, I'm just wondering, is Mystic Mac back? And if so, what his prediction for the next fight is?
You know, I feel Eddie, I've nothing against... Careful, be careful. I've nothing against Edward. Oh, what? Oh, what? Careful. What you gonna do? Oh, what? You gonna do something over there? Be careful. Shut your fucking mouth. I run New York. I run this whole shit. And Mystic Mac predicts I'm gonna KO you inside one round.
Go ahead, sir.
Question for you, Colin, for you, chosen one. Everybody from Michael Jackson to Muhammad Ali and everybody in between has had the chance to perform at Madison Square Garden. How much are you looking forward to that?
Listen, the Irish, we built this damn town. I'm saying serious. We built this city. Now we're back. Now we're coming to claim what's ours, so it's an honor to be here. Coming in here listening to all these fans. It truly is a dream come true. I cannot wait to perform for you. I'm going to take out one of your own. I'm going to cash your own money. But make no mistake, it's all love. The Irish love New York, and I'm honored to be here.
Question for Conor. Conor, a question for Conor. Can you give us an update on your leg? How serious was the injury, and was it possible that it was going to preclude you from fighting on this card?
Listen, that fight was five weeks ago. I came out of that fight fresher than I went in. Look at Nate's face. Nate will never look the same. I came out brand new. I had a bruised foot. I agreed to this fight. 10 days ago, I agreed to all of this. And then, I don't know what was going on. Something went on with that other side. But I was chilling here waiting for the call, and then the call came last minute. I jumped on a plane, and here we are. So I'm brand new.
And at the end of the press conference at 2:02, the final thing that you said was you had a feeling that shit was going to hit the fan. Can you explain what you meant by that? And did it hit the fan, or did you weather that storm?
I just said it out straight. Beg me, and they begged me. So that was all I wanted. That was all I asked.
A question for Eddie. How did you get this done? Because it seemed like just a few days ago they were targeting you and
He got it done by signing his last contract. He didn't even negotiate new money for himself. Imagine that. Look at everybody up here. They're all dressed like me. They're all trying to talk like me. They're all trying to be me. Everyone in the game wants this fight. This is the lottery fight. And this man took it on his last contract. Imagine that. Imagine getting the biggest fight in the history of the game and saying, shut your mouth, kid. You're getting paid what you got your last fight, and you're lucky you're even getting that. Yes, sir, and sign it. That's what happened.
You done yet? You done yet? Hey, I was okay with the money. I was gonna negotiate the money. For the reason, because this guy's easy. It's easy money. Easy money. Easy.
And if I could, just one more. Conor, can you tell us what you're going to do with the titles? Dana said today that you will keep the featherweight belt up until this fight.
I'm going to wrap one on one shoulder, I'm going to wrap the other on the other shoulder, and you're going to need a fucking army to come take them belts off me.
This is a question for Conor. My name's Josh Burnett from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Quick question. When you prepared for Nate Diaz, it was a very specific camp. When you prepare for Eddie, will you have such a specific camp, or you go a bit more like you used to?
I've been whooping his style. I've been whooping that style a long, long time. He's a stocky, stuffed wrestler with an overhand. That's it. So I've been beating these guys up.
Tell him the
before.
truth. You ain't got a fucking shot. Tell him the truth. You ain't got a shot.
One round you're gonna.
You ain't got a shot. Your coach knows you ain't got a shot.
One round.
And anybody who knows anything about fighting
you and your
knows
coach.
you ain't got a fucking
Fuck you
shot.
and your coach.
You ain't got a shot.
Conor, one more question.
You're here because you're the easiest dude in this division. That's why you're here.
Conor, one more question. What did you think
Take
about
them stupid ass glasses off.
Yeah, make me. Make me. Make me. Make me. Make me. Make me.
Make me. You took them off. You took them off. Thank you. You took them off.
Conor, last question. What did you think about Eddie's fight against Sonya's?
I thought it was very sloppy. The shot selection was very, very poor. He got blessed. He got blessed with a lucky shot. His UFC career has been horrendous. He's very, very lucky to be in the position he is in. He understands that. That's why he took this fight on the money he was on the last fight. I mean, that says it all.
And sorry to hog the microphone. Last question to Eddie. What were your genuine thoughts on the Diaz fight, Diaz-McGregor?
This guy got 8 minutes of fighting him. That's it. He quits after 8 minutes every fight. He's not a championship fighter. He's never been, and he's never ever fought anyone in the UFC like me ever.
Hey, Dana.
Just another broke bum trying to sell some shit. That's it. He's broke and he's desperate. And he's trying to make it like, McGregor's this, McGregor's that. We've heard it all before. He's just another broke bum that can't afford to pay his fucking bills. So that's all that is.
Hey, Dana, first of all, thank you for bringing it to New York. I'm a New York native. Thank you to bringing the UFC to New York.
Thank you, sir.
This question's for Conor, part of WFN, CBS Sports Radio. Conor, you've been known to make predictions. You're known as Mystic Mac. What's your prediction for UFC 205?
Like I said, he's chinny. He has a chin. He gets cracked, he gets dropped. It's happened throughout his career. He's a weathered fighter. He's on his way out. He's very, very lucky to be in the position he's in. One round it will take me to knock him out.
And Conor, follow. Ariel hinted at it about the foot.
And Eddie's known as a cardio freak. Are you worried about the not being able to cycle?
Yes,
on the
yes,
foot?
he is.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, he is.
In 4 months, I overcame a triathlete. I outlasted a triathlete with 30 pounds on me and whooped his ass. This guy's a balloon. He ain't no cardio machine. What are you talking about? He's blown up, one clinch, and he's gassing for air as well.
He spent $300,000 on that last camp and gassed out 8
And
minutes
made
in.
$25
$300,000. And gassed out 8 minutes in.
Cool, thanks, man. And one question for Cowboy, and I guess. Here you are on a days again, listening to Connor talk, man. I could see you back there, just wondering what this experience was like for you.
Oh man, this is New York City, man. This is Square Garden, man. I'm so pumped to be here. But listening to this Joker talk, we all just sit back here and laugh. So it is what it is.
Another broke, jealous, bitter fighter. The game seems to be full of them. I've got nothing but love for everybody up here. You know what I'm saying? It's just bitterness and hate and negativity towards me because of what I'm doing, because of what I'm making. That's all that is.
Gabe Winisian from the Daily Ramen. I have a question for Eddie Alvarez. In an interview with CBS in August, you said that Conor McGregor was not a good fighter and, quote, that he ain't shit. You're going into this fight now. Do you still maintain those strong feelings going into this fight?
When I mention fighter, you guys are thinking about technique. I'm not thinking about technique. I'm thinking, when I say fighter, I'm talking about how you deal with adversity, how you deal with being in a bad situation. He deals terribly with being in bad situations and don't come back.
Now, Eddie Alvarez, obviously this is going to be a huge fight for you. However, is this the same strategy you're going to use that you used against Anthony Pettis? Grind it out, get him against the cage, take him down?
No, definitely not. I'm with Mark Henry now, and since I've been with Mark Henry, I've been growing a bunch. Fuck John Kavanaugh.
Fuck that pod man.
Hey, you got two jiu-jitsu coaches. Two jiu-jitsu coaches. Why you got two jiu-jitsu coaches? Anyway, come November 12th, you guys will see. There is no Santa Claus. He don't exist.
Now, Connor, one question for you. The only weakness we've seen in your arsenal was your wrestling against Chad Mendes. Have you improved that?
How did that fight go again?
That's the only weakness we've seen. That's the only weakness we've seen in your career.
Last time I checked, he was unconscious. What are you talking about? He's gonna be shooting for his life, but it's a long 25 minutes in there. I can hit you from anywhere. And that's what's gonna happen to him. He's gonna be shooting, panicking, I'm gonna be hitting him from everywhere. Sooner or later, he's gonna fall. One of those elbows, one of those shots are gonna dig into that soft, sweet spot into the temple, and that's all she wrote. Two-weight world champion, UFC history, New York, the Irish are back.
This question's for Dana, Scott Fontana with AM New York. Dana, what is the plan for if Conor wins the belt? What's gonna happen with the featherweight belt?
We'll figure that out when it happens.
What would you say to that, Conor?
Sorry, what did you say again?
If you win both belts, what are you going to do? Are you going to defend both belts?
They're gonna have to gather an army to try and take one of them off me, and that's how straight. One's gonna be there, one's gonna be there. I'm gonna be picking and choosing who I want to destroy next, and that's it.
Would you fight Aldo again?
Let's see what happens with Aldo. I mean, it's hard to even think of Aldo. I KO'd him in 13 seconds. I traveled around the world with him. He pulled out on 2 weeks' notice. If Frankie was good enough and he had came through that last one, it would have me and Frankie for the featherweight belt here. He just wasn't up to scratch. So I'm gonna let that featherweight division play out, see how it goes. But I'm the featherweight world champion. Now in November, I'm gonna be the lightweight world champion, and I'm gonna hold two of them consecutively.
Not a shot.
That's it.
Not a shot. You ain't got a shot. Beltless. You'll be beltless November 12th. You'll be beltless. Not a 45, not a 55. You'll have to give up the little boy belt, and you're not getting the big boy belt.
Conor, since you love talking about money, what's your expectation of what are you going to make for 205?
As in, my money or the pay-per-views, or what are you talking about? I feel by the time 2016 closes out, I'll be closing in on 40 million. This is a $40 million year for me. It's been a damn good year.
This is a question for Dana White. Dana, over the last 6 months, did you try and get Ronda Rousey to fight at 205?
What's the question? Have I been trying for the last 6 months?
Have you been trying to get Ronda Rousey to fight here?
No, Ronda was going to let me know when she's ready to fight again.
And hypothetically, if she did fight here, who'd be the main event? Conor or Rousey?
What's that?
Who'd be the main fight if she was fighting tonight? Conor McGregor or Rousey?
Sit down.
How you
Yes,
doing?
sir.
Anil Melwani from MMA.us and Caged Insider. Connor, take a look around you. You got a lot of champions, a lot of grizzled vets. Who do you think would give you the hardest fight out of anybody on stage?
Right here. Right here, the hardest hitting 145 pound, the real hardest hitting 145er, right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. They're not, who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that? Oh my God. I don't know. When I take that guy's belt, Leprechaun. Oh, good one. When I take that guy's belt, I'm looking around. I don't know what anyone else has for me around here. I might have to jump up and fucking drag Floyd Mayweather out of bed and see what the fuck he's at again.
This question is for Eddie Alvarez. You've been mentioning that Conor McGregor is not a championship fighter. He only has 2 to 3 rounds. Yet in your professional career, you've only went to the 5th round twice and lost one of them. What the fuck are you talking about, motherfucker? What the fuck are you talking about? That's the champ! That's the champ! That's the fucking champ right there! Fuck you, man!
Hey, what's your question?
Yeah, he has a suit and a tie.
What's your
and everything
question?
coming with that. I love it. I love it.
My question was clearly, you've only been to the 5th round twice in your professional career and lost one of them. You're complaining that he has no gas.
His question is, why you talking shit? That's his question. Why the fuck you up there talking shit? Say it like it is, you're blessed. You're blessed that I chose you. You're blessed that I chose to whoop your ass next. Say it like it fucking is.
You were the easiest opponent that made the most money. That's the truth.
Come prove it.
You were my easiest opponent that made the most money.
Come prove
That's
it.
why you were
I
picked.
could buy and sell
That's
your
why
whole
you were
fucking
picked.
town. I could buy and sell your whole bum town. Come fucking prove it.
You can't be from where I'm from and not be able to defend yourself. So that was the original reason I got into it. Not for titles, not for recognition, not for money. You know, it's not so much about wanting to fight. It's about I have to fight. It's always been like that. You know, I couldn't just not fight. If I don't fight, then I get walked on.
Big respect to everybody up in here. I'm not from here, but I run here. I run New York. The Irish run New York. Call Floyd. Call Floyd, tell him I'm right here. See what he does. He ain't gonna do shit. He'll do fucking nothing. Shout out the Irish in New York. We built this city. We built this city with our bare fucking hands. And now we're back. Where's that bread? Where's my money? Floyd, where you at? Where you fucking at? I'm from a small place in Dublin, Ireland called Clonmel, where they throw grenades through your letterbox. They throw grenades through the letterbox of their mother's home and go running off laughing. That's where the fuck I come from. So to come over to this place and be treated by the people and show love, $17.1 million gate at Madison Square Garden, the highest gate there was, it broke Lennox Lewis on the Holyfield record. Attendance 50, almost 16,000, broke Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier's record. It's an honor to be a young Irishman from the middle of nowhere, to come over and be treated with love by all you people. I swear, I have nothing but respect for every single person in here that's grinding for what they deserve, that's putting in that work, going against all doubt, and going against what's theirs. Nothing but respect. Keep going, keep working. With hard work, with belief, anything is possible. I'm a two-weight world champion. in the biggest organization in free fighting, period. There's no limitations where I come from. You can kick, you can knee, you can elbow. It's bare shin, bare bone. Floyd's not ready for this. Much respect to Floyd, he's a solid businessman. What he has been able to do, he is a fucking animal at what he has been able to do. But as far as real fighting, as far as true, pure, unarmed combat, Floyd don't want none of this. I say, he does not want none of this. Give him a ring and ask him. He wants it under boxing rules. He wants a boxing match. He doesn't want to fight. So much respect to everyone in here. I love everyone in here. Give Floyd a shout, tell him I'm coming. Tell him to run around Showtime offices. I want 100 million cash to fight him under boxing rules because he's afraid of a real fight. Shout out to him. I'm not going to fight this no more. I'm going to put it back to the DJ. Big respect to everybody. Let's do that, DJ. It's only Tuesday. It's Tuesday already to this motherfucker. It's Tuesday, motherfucker. I love everyone here. He's a ball. Tuesday.
Hold up. We talking about our money, let's go. Here we go. Kind with Sean. We good? Here we go. I want to see this match one time. Floyd versus Conor McGregor. What's up? I got some money in this shit, right? Steve, you got some money, Steve? Oh, shit. Who's got some money? We good. You got some money here? Mr. Williams got some money in the fight.
Are there any thoughts to a future potential boxing match with Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah, of course. Right now I have Floyd running around the Showtime offices gathering my money. That's what he's doing. He's running around the Showtime offices begging for those executives to come up with 100 million cash for me to fight me. So as soon as he gets my money, we can fight.
Conor McGregor fight. You didn't see it, or?
No. I didn't know Conor was undefeated. But I didn't know that he had a reign in MMA for 20 years and undefeated and was world champion in 5 different weight classes. That's something I didn't know. If you're saying he's the Floyd Mayweather of the MMA, I'm trying to find out. Have you ever made 300 million in one night? Have you ever made 100 million in one night?
Let's start with Conor McGregor because that sounded like Floyd Mayweather. You said you started that rumor yourself. So that sounded like you were looking for a little attention, though.
Well, it's really not a rumor. The fight may happen. You know, we really don't know as of right now. But do I think the fight will happen? Absolutely.
Really? Are we talking a boxing match or an MMA match?
A boxing match, because most fights that Conor McGregor won inside that, inside the octagon, he was a stand-up guy.
Whether real.
I hear the boy talking, said he gets 100 million, I get 7 million. That's a pay cut to me. I don't take pay cuts. I thought boxing was where the money was at. 7 million is absolutely laughable. He's talking 100 million. I'm also talking 100 million. I'm 27 years of age, and I'm just about halfway through a $100 million contract. He's getting old now. I have the size, I have the reach, I have the height. I have the youth. He needs me. I don't need him. Floyd wants a boxing match. And I've already said, no problem. Get my fucking money. And when you get my money, then we can box.
in this boxing match under these set of specific rules that will keep you alive. I'm here. Where's my money? You keep dropping my name and you haven't got the money, then I'm going to show up at your front door. So we'll see. But Floyd does not want a fight. Floyd wants a match under a specific set of rules. I don't need rules.
I don't know if you saw this, but Monday morning you took over the internet. Front page of every newspaper about what you said, that the only fight you're coming back for is McGregor. And at first people were
Conor McGregor?
At first people thought you were joking, but now when they see that it's coming to fruition and may be the real deal, everybody's into it.
We just working. Just working. Everything takes time, working. We haven't talked yet. You know, pretty sure we'll get to talking real soon because I know everyone wants to see this fight before the end of the year.
So Floyd, as far as Conor McGregor, what are your thoughts on him now? Because a lot of people are still wondering about you and him and what your thoughts on him overall.
Well, tonight it's about Mayweather Promotions. I tried to make the fight happen between me and Conor McGregor. We wasn't able to make the fight happen, so we must move on.
Conor McGregor's an MMA fighter. He uses your name before his last fight. He's calling your name now. What do you make of that, of another sport, another fighter wanting to fight you?
You know, I try to play the background. That's why when the fighters fight, I don't get in the ring and try to steal the fighter's shine. You know, sometimes the fighter asks me, please come in the ring. And when they ask me to come in the ring, that's when I go. But most of the time I try to stay on the sideline. I had my time to shine. Great career. It's time for these other young fighters to shine.
I'm a two-weight world champion in the biggest organization in free fighting, period. There's no limitations where I come from. Floyd's not ready for this. Much respect to Floyd, he's a solid businessman, what he has been able to do. But as far as real fighting, Floyd don't want none of this. He wants a boxing match. He doesn't want to fight. Tell him to run around Showtime offices. I want the 100 million cash.
Press conference and Conor brought your name up. Is that finished now, or do you think it'll ever happen?
Within my company, I'm the boss. I call the shots.
He might be the Floyd Mayweather of UFC, or he's took some things from you to be.
I mean, if he did steal my blueprint, I think it's a good thing. He's a hell of a fighter. You know, he can fight, he can box real good. As far as stand-up, he's very good. How are we gonna fight? I just don't know.
You win the fight on Saturday, Conor. What's next? Would you focus your attention maybe on Floyd Mayweather? There's rumors out there that he's willing to give up $50 million if you fight.
50 million. Yeah, I told him the price tag on that, so he knows the price tag, so he's got to run around the Showtime offices and gather that money. And then we'll talk.
Never compare Conor McGregor to me. That's a total disrespect. Once again, I'm an elephant. Elephant don't beef with ants. You know, elephant is so large you don't even see ants.
What do you tell all the fans about Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor? Because the whole world is breaking the internet.
Oh man, I gotta say Conor McGregor, he's tough. He's a tough competitor. And most guys that Conor McGregor, you know, every time he go out there and fight, when he kick ass in a stand-up position. So if the fight does happen, which I truly believe is going to be record-breaking, I'm truly blessed way beyond belief. And I can't overlook no one. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a master plan to make that fight happen. It hasn't happened yet, but we locked down some dates.
Conor, what up?
How are you?
So I got Floyd yesterday, right? He said he didn't see your fight. Do you believe him? Do you believe him?
As Mayweather. Just anyone's ever seen.
If you're asking would I like to fight Floyd, I mean, who would not like to dance around the ring for $180 million?
Yeah.
If we were to fight I certainly know he would not want to step into my world, the world of pure unarmed combat, where there is no limitations. But I most certainly would step into his world.
They have you fighting MMA fighters now. They have you doing all this stuff. How do you?
It's possible. You know, it's possible. So you know, it was a name that was shot at me. You know, but the rumors that y'all been hearing is the rumors that I started. It may not be a rumor. So you know, keep your fingers crossed. It may be a boxer versus an MMA fighter. So we just don't know.
Are there any thoughts to a future potential boxing match with Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah, of course. Right now I have Floyd running around the Showtime offices gathering my money. That's what he's doing. He's running around the Showtime offices begging for those executives to come up with 100 million cash for me to fight me. So as soon as he gets my money, we can fight.
Conor McGregor fight. You didn't see it, or?
No. I didn't know Conor undefeated. But I didn't know that he had a reign in MMA for 20 years and undefeated, and was world champion in 5 different weight classes. That's something I didn't know. If you're saying he's the Floyd Mayweather of the MMA, I'm trying to find out. Have you ever made $300 million in one night? Have you ever made $100 million in one night?
Let's start with Conor McGregor because that sounded like Floyd Mayweather. You said you started that rumor yourself. So that sounded like you were looking for a little attention, no?
Well, it's really not a rumor. The fight may happen. You know, we really don't know as of right now. But do I think the fight will happen? Absolutely.
Really? Are we talking a boxing match or an MMA match?
A boxing match, because most fights that Conor McGregor won inside that, inside the octagon, he was a stand-up guy.
Whether real? I hear the boy talking, said he gets 100 million, I get 7 million. That's a pay cut to me. I don't take pay cuts. I thought boxing was where the money was at. 7 million is absolutely laughable. He's talking 100 million. I'm also talking 100 million. I'm 27 years of age, and I'm just about halfway through a $100 million contract. He's getting old now. You know, I have the size, I have the reach, I have the height. I have the youth. He needs me. I don't need him. Floyd wants a boxing match. And I've already said, no problem. Get my fucking money. And when you get my money, then we can box in this boxing match under these set of specific rules that will keep you alive. I'm here. Where's my money? You keep dropping my name and you haven't got the money, then I'm going to show up at your front door. So we'll see. But Floyd does not want a fight. Floyd wants a match under a specific set of rules. I don't need rules.
I don't know if you saw this, but Monday morning you took over the internet. Front page of every newspaper about what you said, that the only fight you're coming back for is McGregor. And at first people were
Conor McGregor?
At first people thought you were joking, but now when they see that it's coming to fruition and may be the real deal, everybody's into it.
We just working. Everything takes time, working. We haven't talked yet. You know, I'm pretty sure we'll get to talking real soon, because I know everyone wants to see this fight before the end of the year.
So Floyd, as far as Conor McGregor, what are your thoughts on him now? Because a lot of people are still wondering about you and him, and what are your thoughts on him overall?
Well, tonight it's about Mayweather Promotions. I tried to make the fight happen between me and Conor McGregor. We wasn't able to make the fight happen, so we must move on.
Conor McGregor's an MMA fighter. He uses your name before his last fight. He's calling your name now. What do you make of that, of another sport, another fighter wanting to fight you?
You know, I try to play the background. That's why when the fighters fight, I don't get in the ring and try to steal the fighter's shine. You know, sometimes the fighter asks me, please come in the ring. When they ask me to come in the ring, that's when I go. But most of the time I try to stay on the sideline. I had my time to shine, great career. It's time for these other young fighters to shine.
I'm a two-weight world champion in the biggest organization in free fighting, period. There's no limitations where I come from. Floyd's not ready for this. Much respect to Floyd, he's a solid businessman, what he has been able to do. But as far as real fighting, Floyd don't want none of this.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. And there is very grave danger. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. But I am asking your help of informing and alerting the American people.
Charge. You are. I have no authority over you or anyone else. On the contrary, you have authority over me. Think of me as a spokesperson for all the people of the world, controlled by you through social media. Before we get into how that works, let's take a look at this map. Now, this is us. A bunch of lines, divisions, boundaries, countries competing for limited resources, economic domination, religious superiority. Competition is healthy when it comes to cricket or Facebook travel pictures, but this is just stupid. Let's zoom out and get another perspective. To scale, our solar system is a grain of sand in the Sahara Desert, and this little pixel is our only home. Yet we're sucking up resources like there's no tomorrow, breeding like rabbits, strangulating other species out of existence. Plastic waste in the ocean is growing larger than most countries, with nothing in place to stop it. Industries that are harming our planet are so powerful they can prevent or slow down cleaner technology for the sake of short-term profit. Governments, justice systems, the media are all influenced by self-interest groups whose actions often conflict with the well-being of humankind. Obviously, the world is full of a lot of good people, but as a whole, we're contributing to a system that's broken. We're going down a bad path. So, how do we fix it? Together, through social media, we can influence world leaders and industries to start improving the world as opposed to ruining it. We know this will work because history has repeatedly shown us that leaders and industries must follow public opinion or they fail. Sharing this video, endorsing it, tweeting it, goes a long way toward the creation of a legitimate global democracy. Because the more people unite in one place, the more powerful their voice becomes.
With the internet, we've all been made aware. Whether we want to face it or not, we all know what's going on.
Secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret.
Their goal is nothing less than world government.
And they are planning genocide, and they must be stopped.
Literally stealing $100 million a day. Goldman Sachs is stealing every day on the floor of the exchange. They should be in The Hague. They should be taken up on financial terrorism charges. They're causing as much loss of life.
A mind-blowing piece of information about the Titanic.
They got rid of, in one fell swoop, about 600 industrialists who were opposed to the taking over the Fed.
A Greek departure from the currency would inflict collateral damage, says PIMCO. At worst, it could spur sovereign defaults in Europe, as well as bank runs, credit crunches, and recessions that may spark more euro exits.
Look, Greek exit, at worst, means more money printing for the banks, and they've already priced that into their stocks and their bonuses. What they're really afraid of is that a country finds its inner gonads and decides to become politically independent. That's what they're fearful of. A country standing up for itself. They want Iceland to be just contained. They don't want Greece to stand up for itself. They don't want Ireland to stand up for itself, because then they would tell the bankers to stuff it. That's the real problem. They threaten this financial terrorism, which is false. It's false. These are false attacks. It was a false attack in 2008. It was a concocted, overcooked attack in 9/11. It's a false attack.
In Iceland, 4 former bank chiefs have been jailed for fraud. The sentences go as far as 5 years behind bars. They're accused of concealing that a Qatari investor bought a stake in their firm, using cash lent from the bank itself, illegally. The deal took place just ahead of the collapse of the bank due to huge debts.
This shit's got to go.
Hey, guess what country is getting itself out of a financial hole by some rather draconian measures?
Well, Greece?
No, not even close. Iceland.
Iceland?
Iceland.
Who
They
knew?
are putting people in jail. They are putting, like, prime ministers being indicted. They're going after bankers. The people said, yeah, they said those banks were ripping us off. We don't like what they did. They brought our country to ruin. And now Iceland suddenly is turning around. Their GDP is growing, and they look like a big success story.
The former chief executive and chairman of Anglo-Irish Bank, Sean Fitzpatrick, has appeared in court in Dublin.
Well, John, Sean Fitzpatrick arrived at the courts complex here behind us just after 9 o'clock this morning. He was put into a Garda van at the Bridewell Garda station and driven here. He had been arrested at 5:37 a.m. at Dublin Airport. He had flown back in from the United States in the early hours of the morning, and he met officers from the Garda Bureau of Fraud Investigation and officers working for the Director of Corporate Enforcement by arrangement. There was an appointment made and they met at Dublin Airport.
A 31-year-old man was arrested in London earlier today. A guy you could say had a bit of a gambling problem. Just how much money did he lose while working as a trader at the investment bank UBS? Just $2 billion.
Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner potentially facing criminal charges.
Geithner was the president of the New York Federal Reserve Bank in the fall of 2008
when the Federal Reserve and the Treasury and the White House and the Congress decided to bail out AIG.
Right.
In the process of that bailing out of AIG, many documents were exchanged. If you went to the bank to borrow money, you'd have to fill out documents. One of the documents AIG filled out said, we owe X dollars to Goldman Sachs and we plan on paying them 100 cents on the dollar. According to Bloomberg, emails that came out yesterday say that lawyers for the Federal Reserve Bank said, we were told to strike this from the form so that AIG would not reveal to the Treasury Department or to the public that this money was going to be paid to Goldman Sachs because that's a politically toxic issue. Goldman Sachs making a fortune, making 100 cents on the dollar with federal funds. Now, if you go to buy a $25 savings bond from the federal government and you falsify the document to acquire that bond, you can go to jail.
That's right.
If you borrow $185 billion from the government, like AIG did, and you falsify a document, even if the government told you to do so, the people involved can go to jail.
Debate in India over thousands of crores of black money being stashed away in secret Swiss bank accounts. A former Swiss banker has handed over details of offshore accounts of 2,000 high net worth individuals to the whistleblowing website WikiLeaks. Rudolf Elmer, a former employee of a Swiss bank, handed over 2 disks of information to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange in London. He says they have information on tax evasion by celebrities, business leaders, and even politicians from the US, Britain, and Asia, but it's not yet clear if there are Indians on the list. Elmer says that after years of watching the money laundering trade, he wanted to do something about it. He will appear before a Zurich court on Wednesday, charged with violating strict Swiss banking secrecy laws. WikiLeaks now plans to put up the information on the website in a matter of weeks.
Pointed out that the arrests are not an indication of a systemic failure. Yesterday, at least 8 top officials of state-run banks and financial institutions have been arrested by the CBI on Wednesday. The allegations are that they accepted bribes in exchange for disbursing loans to corporate housing and realty companies, despite suspect credit records, and at other times for bailing out realty IPOs.
Royal Bank of Scotland is reportedly set to be fined €186 million for the same interbank interest rate rigging scandal that's hammered Barclays. The British regulator, the Financial Services Authority, says 4 banks, Barclays, RBS, HSBC and Lloyds, will have to pay compensation to customers because they missold products to protect small businesses against a rise in interest rates. There's anger in Ireland over revelations that executives at Anglo-Irish Bank lied to the Dublin government about how much money it would need in a bailout 5 years ago. The Irish Independent newspaper has got hold of tape recordings of top bosses there who laugh about the fact that the bank has told the government it only needs €7 billion. They also laugh about abusing the state bank guarantee, which eventually cost taxpayers €30 billion. The report seems to show the government was lured into helping the bank through its disastrous guaranteeing of bank deposits.
Into the synchronized global pullback or recession, and in some cases a depression, then these items are coming to the surface. For example, the 20 to 30 trillion of wealth that's held offshore. And most of that wealth, of course, goes through Britain, goes through the UK, because Britain has the least regulated financial markets in the world. That's why MF Global was in Britain. Lehman Brothers went through Britain. Bernie Madoff went through Britain. The latest Peregrine scandal went through Britain. JP Morgan's $2 to $9 billion loss on their balance sheet happened in London. So London is really the headquarters for global banking fraud. And even though the economy is contracting in Britain, I noticed that the banking sector is still making huge profits. The Barclays chief operating officer that was caught committing fraud just got a golden parachute of £8 million. So as I've said, until you get rid of the financial terrorists, then you're going to continue to get, you're going to have these weapons of mass financial destruction blow up in your face.
One of the most influential men in the world, but no amount of money can buy his freedom. 62-year-old IMF head Dominique Strauss-Kahn spent the night in a jail cell in an East Harlem police station. It was a far cry from his $3,000 a night luxury hotel suite at the Sofitel in Times Square. That's where cops say he sexually assaulted a 32-year-old maid, chasing her around the suite naked, trying to rip off her underwear, then forcing her to perform a sex act.
It's almost like they're not human, isn't it? You look at them and you think, these people don't live in the same world as us. Do you remember that before the crisis happened, what they were doing was decimating the high street banks, laying off all their staff, putting us all on computers when they clearly hadn't developed the technology for those computers. They told us that they were doing that to make things better for us. They didn't. They made things worse for us. And it was simply in order to collect up an enormous amount of money that they could invest in the casino of international banking. And they blew it because they didn't understand it. And then they come back to us and say, oh, can you bail us out now for hundreds of millions of pounds? We give them the flipping money and they don't lend it to us even though they've promised to do so. Have the gall to increase their wages by 12%, to give themselves bonuses and say we've got to do this because if we don't, we'll leave the country. And all the time, actually, in the background, they're committing acts which in any other business I think would be seen as criminal. I have no respect for British bankers and the British banking system at all. They've dragged us into that situation. It's about time they started getting us out.
Another posh New York City hotel, another hotel maid saying she was sexually assaulted by another foreign banker.
$96 billion lawsuit just filed against 17 major banks. There's 236 resignations from the world banks. The arrest of the leaders of the criminal cabal. The dark cabal rats are panicking and turning on each other. They are threatening to kill each other.
And just attack that market. You know, Greece was put out of business by financial terrorists. Same thing with Ireland, same thing with Italy, same thing with Spain. That's what we're dealing with here. Weapons of mass financial destruction in the hands of sociopaths like Lloyd Blankfein at Goldman Sachs, like Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan. These are the real terrorists.
We're cutting off their money and we're going to put them in jail. They have to surrender. Once these murderers are out of power, you will find